to see when those are on.
That'll look like
Yeah, it'll be like a laser light show.
Well, that's not bad.
6 o'clock, this meeting is called to order. Mike, would you please lead us?
Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. All right. First order of business is to approve minutes of previous meetings. First, we have the work session of November 13, 2012.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second?
It's been moved by Mike, seconded by Dick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Those minutes are approved. Next, we have the November 13, 2012 regular meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Been moved by Dick, seconded by Mike. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Those minutes are approved. Then we have the November 13, 2012 non-public minutes. And on those, I would like to suggest that I think from the first two meetings that evening, Charles Berman was absent, so I think he was absent from that as well, so his name needs to be struck.
And as amended, I'd make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second?
It's been moved by Mike and seconded by Dick. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Those are approved. And on the November 19 minute, we don't have a quorum present tonight, so we will have to table those until we are next all here. Moving on to announcements. The Select Board will meet on the following dates. Regular meetings at 6 p.m. on Monday, December 10, 2012, and Monday, January 7, 2013. Work review sessions prior to the regular meeting will start at 5 p.m. There will be budget work sessions on Monday, December 3, 2012, and Monday, December 17, 2012. All of these meetings will be here in the Town Hall unless otherwise posted. Weather observations for the month of October are available in the Town Hall. Citizens wishing to be listed on the Select Board agenda should notify the Town Hall before 12 p.m. on the Friday before the scheduled meeting. The 2012 Annual Holiday Parade will take place on Saturday, December 1st at 5 p.m. It's always a fun event, and I hope everyone will join us. All right. First on our agenda is a review of a vendor permit application from George's Gourmet Grill, LLC. And in this application, George's Gourmet Grill asks permission to put a push cart at the top of Court Street starting on the first Friday that the students come back from Christmas break. And he wants to operate his push cart, which will sell sausage, hot dogs, chicken, steak, and hamburgers, soda, and water. Wants to operate it from Friday and Saturday nights from 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. And Chief Lefebvre, did he spoke with you about this permit?
He has not spoken to me directly about the permit. He did it, I believe, through my administrative assistant, and we came up with the idea of the top of Court Street would probably be the best spot for him, off of Main Street a little further up, and he could also catch, the college community, which is pretty much the focus of his business.
Yeah. And do you foresee any problems?
Especially up there, I think that's the best spot for him. I don't foresee any problems up there at all.
Okay. Any discussion?
No, it seems like a good, safe location for both walking traffic and available parking for people that just want to zip in and zip out again. So,
Can I just ask, would we expect that he would park
if he's gonna have a vehicle, I suppose, and whatever this device is that he sells stuff from, is he going to park in our spaces up there? Or in the roundabout area, or whatever, you know, I guess there's quite a large open area up there too, really, isn't there?
From my discussion,
Yeah.
that was, the information that was relayed to me was actually at the top of the hill in that roundabout area. Up there are parking spaces up there, and it would take place in those parking spaces up there.
And they're not parking spaces that have any real demand that time of day, but I'm just wondering, do we have any issues with using the parking spaces, I guess? And we've had that question about the one down here, of course, and, you know, charging rent for it, and so on. I just wonder if,
None
and this
that,
isn't necessarily your issue, but,
yeah, none that had been brought to my attention, especially during those hours, our normal business hours, especially for Main Street merchants. It's kind of off hours and after everything's already closed.
Brian, go ahead.
well, I was just thinking about it from a, you know, treating people equally, I guess. It's the same idea, and I think Val was about to say Brian?
I just wanted to see if you wanted to weigh in on this too. What are your thoughts?
It's going to be dicey no matter where he goes, as far as the, you know, how it's taken by the Main Street merchants. You know, the old argument of, you know, location, tax base versus the other folks. It's definitely out of the view, and if he's going specifically after the university market, it would probably be the best, because then people could just point to the location and say, he took his operation as close to the campus as he could possibly get, because that's what he was shooting for. Obviously, there are no parking issues because of the hours.
Right.
And, you know, everybody parks there for the Meals for Many or any of the events that are happening. You know, because we're closed, there's no reason to sequester those spaces at that point in time. And there's plenty of parking. He could park straight in to the curb, or even, you know, take up 2 or 3, you know, if he wanted to get further out of the way. I think that's something that the chief would probably want to weigh in on as far as which is the safest way to go.
Well, and I think, you know, the observation was made that his business is not something that is in competition with anyone else in town, really.
Even the type of food, the service.
The hours.
Hours.
Yeah, I mean, somebody who's going out to dinner isn't going to say, well, let's go to George's Gourmet Grill push cart instead of, you know, Six Burner Bistro. So I don't think there really is an objection there.
I guess just one question on the nights, and I'm not sure how many nights this would be when there was, let's say, a significant event at Silver Center. Would this allow him to, like, cone off a spot or two for his use during those times, or?
Usually the Silver Center Hall, I mean, they have their own parking lots there for the
Yeah.
event anyway. So he would be up kind of even further up past that. So it really wouldn't
You
affect
see that whole, all of Court Street really fill up, and the bank parking lot really fill up when the Silver Center has an event, though. That is true. I mean,
Without renting a specific spot or having a metered space, which those aren't, I don't know of any way other than first come, first serve.
yeah, I think that would have to be it.
what do those signs there say?
Employee parking.
And it's just not enforced outside of regular business
Correct.
hours, right? So we don't consider it to be really employee parking when it's not during regular business
Right.
hours.
The same with any of the spaces that are alongside the street here. Because we have no use for them,
Yeah.
you know, after business hours.
Peter?
We should have some discussion with him about snowstorms. When we plow Court Street, most of it all goes up to the top of the hill. So we need to define what we expect during the snowstorm so it doesn't affect where we plow and how we plow.
So, Peter, do you leave the snow piled up at the back of the road there? Is that, and so it probably encroaches on the parking spaces?
Eventually it will.
Yeah.
But my only concern would be parking during the storm.
Yeah.
If it encroaches too much onto the parking, what we'll do is we'll go up with a front-end loader and remove the snow. So it'll never come down into the parking spots, but his hours are mostly the hours that we plow. To come in at midnight, we pick up snow
Could I-
too.
Could we make it a condition of this, if we approve it, that he be required to move if you guys need to plow?
That would be good, thank you.
And looking at this, looking at the application, I'm wondering if the weather is, if we've got a snowstorm going on, if he's even going to open
Yeah.
the business on a night like that. But that's a discussion that, if you could come up with the conditions.
Could we? Yep.
He would have to move for snow removal anyway. And that's something that we would handle. If he was in Peter's way, we would go up and address that rather than make him move.
And that would be for any vendor issued a permit.
Yeah, I think that'd be an appropriate condition, so.
Yep.
Can I ask one more question? Would this be for the calendar year? Is that how these are? I see at the top, it says the period expires 12/31. So I guess this would basically be a one-year license? Is that what you would expect, Brian, or?
I'd believe it, but just looking over it, it says the licensing period expires December 31st. I think it's like a fishing license. If you buy it the day before the season ends, you get 1 day of fishing.
Right. No, well, that's what I meant. So it would be, essentially for the 2013 calendar year. I just wonder about, if it might make sense can we do it for 6 months, and so we would have a chance to think about it
Given the
again.
nature of the beast, he's probably going to be out of there in June anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it would be a good idea to put it as a 6-month, almost as a trial balloon.
January 1 to June 1.
And
Right.
if it works
And
out
then
for
if it
him
works-
and for us,
Mhm.
he can redate this and give it to us in September again.
Mhm.
Or
Or even,
August, whatever.
June 2 for that matter, and
Yeah.
saying if he was going to start in September.
Well, if there isn't anything else,
And I think we can just actually even make a note on this. Oh, I think I've got the original. We could make a note right on it to say June 30th, 2013.
Tim, when does the classes end, next semester?
It's usually the third week of May is grad.
Okay.
That third weekend
So
of May is
there'd be
graduation.
enough room June 1st to...
Oh, yeah, that's.
well, no, June 30 would be the 6 months, really.
Yeah.
Right, but he would probably self-close
Yeah.
30 days prior to that.
Right.
Well, I would make a motion, if that's appropriate, that we approve this application, but modify the permit so that it expires June 30th, 2013. And I think the issue with the plowing was covered by the chief, so that maybe we don't really need to say anything about that, right?
It might not be a bad idea just to put something in there,
Note it.
in the letter or permit that goes out to him, just so he's fully aware of it.
There are comments under the Board of Selectmen's signatures on the permit, so all those can be attached there.
Okay, yeah.
So, all right, so I would make that, the motion I just made, plus indicating on the permit that, I guess in the comments section, that the licensee shall be required to move his equipment in the event of a snowstorm that requires plowing.
Shall be required to comply with town ordinances concerning moving.
With town ordinances concerning moving during a fire, during a snowstorm. Okay.
Not knowing exactly how the ordinances address sort of moving vehicles for snow emergencies, maybe comply with town ordinances and/or orders from the highway department or the police department regarding something like that, regarding snowplow issues or something like that.
I would just call it road maintenance. That way it covers anything if he,
Okay.
if he is affected for any reason
Yep.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's covered.
Yeah, it could be drainage, it could be,
Yep.
a lot, could be several things, so.
Should you strike town ordinances entirely in that and just have them comply with highway or PD?
Val is writing something here.
What was the language?
Sorry. Do you want to strike complying with town ordinances entirely and just have it comply with, lawful PD or highway requests concerning roads?
Maintenance, road maintenance.
Right.
Lawful police and highway department requests or directives?
Directive.
Directives is a great word.
Concerning Okay, so licensee shall be required to comply with lawful police and highway department directives concerning moving vehicle for road maintenance. That works?
So I would amend my motion to include that language in the selectmen's
section.
approval comment section.
I'll second the motion in the amendments.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of approving this application for a vendor permit?
Aye.
This is approved, and I have the original for signatures. Okay, moving on, we now have a couple of awards to present. And our first one is to Rhonda Bishop, who has served on the planning board for 5 years now, and I see we've got both our planner and our planning board chair here. If you would like to say a few words concerning Rhonda's service. She has certainly worked with you both very closely, so.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to serve with Rhonda, and it was nice to have her perspective and her thoughts and her comments throughout the last 5 years, so very much appreciated her service for the town.
And I would just like to say the same thing. I know Rhonda was very diligent in doing her prep work and had a lot of conversations with me, and now it's just going to be me and the boys. So congratulations, and good luck with your new endeavor. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Sharon.
You bet. I will offer that as a challenge to any public watching this. We could use some women to sign up to join our planning board, and we now have a vacancy that's been created by Rhonda's departure. So thank you very much for everything, and I certainly hope that Plymouth has not seen the end of your service to our community. I have a feeling that's the case. And thank you much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rhonda.
Moving on now, we have an award for Wallace Stewart, who is with Plymouth's own Hemi Baker TV. This award is a very prestigious award. It is from the New Hampshire Coalition for Community Media. It is the Dottie Grover Outstanding Leadership Award, presented to Wallace Stewart, October 20, 2012, in recognition of your outstanding leadership and dedication to community access television in the state of New Hampshire. So congratulations, Wally. This is very, very well deserved, I know, and thank
Well, I
you.
want to thank the board. We wouldn't have been able to do it without the board. The select board's support for all this, so it's been very rewarding because of that.
Well, and I think that all of our viewers appreciate everything that you've done, both behind the scenes, behind the camera for the most part, and it's been great. So I hope this isn't the end of it.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Next on our agenda, we have a couple of purchase orders. Peter?
I have two purchase orders. One is for the completion of Morse Road minus a retainer, and one was for a change order for Morse Road. Originally, we put it in to pave 18 feet, and then we changed it to pave 20 feet, which made more sense, and it fit the road profile better. So the first one was for the change order, and the second one was for the completion of the roadway minus a retainer.
So the 10 was the extra 2 feet? Is that-
Times the distance of the road,
Yes.
more gravel.
And this is what was anticipated? This is the bid we accepted for it, is it? Yeah.
That's exactly what we accepted. I encourage the board to go look at the roadway, come out really nice.
I've actually been on it
Yeah.
a couple of times with my friend Brian, for one, I think.
Yeah.
And Brian, do you have the original purchase orders?
Yes, I think these are. I don't know if they're original or they were in the folder.
Copies too.
You can sign it anyway.
Yeah, I guess we can just sign them. Well, it is, the paving did come out really great. and,
Yeah, it looks really nice. I'll make a motion to approve those.
Second?
All right, it's been moved that we approve these purchase orders, the first in the amount of $10,150.50, the second in the amount of $121,034.90. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those are approved.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Peter. Nice to see you again. Mr. Lewis. Mr. Lewis.
And Brian, can I hand these to you?
Oh, sure.
All right, and next on our agenda, we have committee reports.
Nothing to report.
I'm afraid I don't have anything to report either.
And I attended a campus community council meeting, which, like most of the meetings that we've had so far this year, it was a quiet meeting. I think people are pretty happy with the way things are going with the students around town and with the police response to problems that have occurred. So I say keep that up to both our chief and our dean of students here. And our next meeting is the meeting just before Christmas, and what is the date of that, Tim?
I'll tell you in 1 second.
Okay. I want to announce when the meeting before Christmas is, because we certainly encourage people to attend, and we do sort of a cookie exchange at that meeting. So it's always kind of a fun event, and
December 11th.
so that will be on December 11th, which is a Tuesday at 5:30.
Correct.
And that was all I had.
There will be Christmas cookies, by the way.
There will be Christmas cookies, I know, that's what I say.
Val's cooking them.
Everybody brings cookies.
Everybody does.
So, all right, and next on the agenda, we move on to the tax rate setting. We have arrived at a tax rate, a proposed tax rate of $22.02 per thousand. And as I think people realize, our tax rate is impacted by three main factors. First, tax revenues. This year, our tax revenues have decreased by $179,000, primarily due to abatements. And essentially, the tax base in Plymouth has gone down by about $2 million this year. We also had war service or veterans credits this year that totaled $92,250, which also took down from our revenues. And thirdly, we had minimal commercial development in Plymouth, which had a direct impact on the tax base as well as on abatements. Notably, we had some pretty significant abatements that were filed by businesses and business owners. So on the upside, a week ago when the board met, we were prepared to have a tax rate increase of $1.05 and to see the unassigned fund reduced to about $1 million. As it turns out, the $22.02 per thousand is an increase of 77 cents. However, our unassigned fund remains at just over $1.2 million, which is a number that I think the people in Plymouth are very comfortable with. It's certainly a number that the Select Board is comfortable with retaining. And our capital reserve still stands at approximately $2 million as well. So I think while we hate to announce a tax increase, I think the news is better than it might have been. And what I would request now is a motion to set the tax rate in Plymouth at $22.02 per thousand. Unless there is some discussion about that, or something that you'd like to add.
I don't think there's anything I'd like to add. I would make the motion to set the tax rate as you've described.
Second?
All right, and it has been moved by Mike, seconded by Dick. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, the tax rate is set. Have no unfinished business. Is there any public comment tonight?
I have one thing. I'd like to give $1 to the Select Board and ask you to go and buy a Megabucks ticket. And I think you're tax exempt, so that means perhaps we get all of the
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you buy the Megabucks ticket for us?
And he was never seen again.
Tim who?
your name on that one.
Go for the random numbers.
Yeah, make a gift to the town of that Megabucks ticket. That would help us all out.
Great.
That would be good, yeah. We could set the tax rate at 0 next year.
Maybe you could throw money.
For the next 250 years.
All right.
Gosh.
If there's no other public comment, I would request a motion to go into a non-public session in accordance with RSA 91-A:3, 2D, real estate.
So moved.
Second?
It's been moved by Dick, seconded by Mike. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are in non-public.